Bill Maher skewered Whoopi Goldberg over recently saying it's worse to be a black person living in America today than it is to be a woman living in Iran. Here he was on Friday night on his show, Real Time with Bill Maher. Take a look.
We were talking about the trans issue before, and the New York Times really has come over on that to the sort of the sensible, liberal, not crazy woke position. I think this is a great first step toward getting the Democrats back to sanity. And a second good step would be, we got to do something about The View.
For those who missed it, here are Goldberg's comments from last week. Let's watch.
I think it's very different to live in the United States in 2025 than it is to live in Iran.
Not if you're black.
Not for everybody.
Every day, we are worried. Do we have to be worried about our kids? Are our kids going to get shot because they're running through somebody's neighborhood?
There was no shortage of social media reaction. Writer Adam B. Coleman took to X, writing, quote, "Watching millionaires on The View trash a nation that has given them lives of abundance is absolutely nauseating to witness, and to the average American comes across as incredibly ungrateful." Conservative commentator Eric Dougherty posted, quote, "I didn't think it was possible for a video to single-handedly lower my IQ, but here we are." And the Gateway Pundit account, probably a favorite of Niall's, weighed in on Maher's suggestion, writing, quote, "Even Bill Maher has had it with Whoopi Goldberg and The View." Do we need a total shutdown of The View until we figure out what's going on?
Well, to that very point, the one thing that was startling to me about that is coming from Bill Maher, who famously, this is admittedly going back 20 years, lost his show on, wasn't it ABC? For comments, politically incorrect was the ABC show.
Oh, yeah.
And he had made comments in the wake of 9/11 that were regarded as offensive by some people. I think he had said something to the effect of, well, because he had said that the attackers, you couldn't call them cowards. That's my recollection of it.
Oh, that was him?
That it was, that there are lots of things that you can say were bad about them, but you can't call them cowards. Wasn't that him?
You're right. I forgot about that whole thing.
It's like I'm a human Google sitting over here, Robby, just reflecting on Bill Maher's career.
That was, oh my God, what a stupid period in American
it was not great.
commentary life. It was an obviously correct observation that he got fired for.
Exactly. And hence ended up on HBO. I'm sure we'll have very different views on this. I didn't find Whoopi Goldberg's views particularly offensive or wrong. I think that there is an attempt on the right from some of the people we mentioned to pretend that racism has ceased to exist. I don't think that is even remotely true. I can cite various statistics that I think unambiguously prove that racism is continuing to be a big sore in American society, and whether people on the right like that or not, it's still a fact.
Well, of course, racism does exist, and black people and other people have to deal with racism in their lives, but the comparison to Iran is different because Iran's mistreatment of women is state-based and is explicit government policy in a way that whatever mistreatment of racial minorities in this country is no longer explicitly government-based. We have gotten that out of our government systems, as we should. We have litigated that out of existence. I will not assert that there are no policies anywhere in the U.S. government that have some kind of disparate impact or something like that, but it is nothing like the requirements on women to be, to do X, Y, and Z as they are under Iranian society. Is that not a meaningful difference?
Well, I'm not. The comparison with Iran, which is what started this, that gets into a debatable area, of course, because I don't want to be defending the subjugation of women in Iran. I think I had a fairly brief journalistic trip to Iran a long time ago now. But, I was working with a female fixer who was worried about, the moral police coming because her hijab was not correctly covering her hair and all of that. I'm not defending that.
Right, that seems so appallingly authoritarian to me, or obviously authoritarian in a way that is not characteristic of our system.
Right, but it's worth mentioning perhaps that on the particular episode of Real Time with Bill Maher that we were just playing, Wesley Hunt was the black Republican congressman who was on there making the argument essentially that, well, we're all Americans now, we have got past this, defending, which I think is a kind of offensive thing to defending the renaming of a military barracks or installation after Robert E. Lee, Confederate general.
Well, they named it that, and they unnamed it, then they're renaming it. I was just like, let's pick a name and stick with it, and
Yeah.
not have.
Well, and maybe not. Let's not name things commemorating traitors who fought to uphold slavery.
I'm fine with that, but do you remember the Robert E. Lee statue thing? I'm fine not having things named after Confederates. Obviously, I agree. But when they have to there was a Robert E. Lee statue specifically that they had to melt down, and it was almost like they thought the statue itself
was evil.
Was just weird. You can have a statue of a guy we can observe and comment on history. When you're naming something, it's celebratory. So I'm with you on that. But there's all the statues have to go. I think there can be a right place in museums or at battle sites where you can have statues, or and that'd be totally fine. And it's crazy to go further than that. And also that there's no limiting principle, because some of the activists who are fired up about the Robert E. Lee statues absolutely want the Thomas Jefferson statues and the George Washington statues to go too. And then I don't know. Then what's the limiting principle? Then we just got to rename everything to Panda Bear Avenue to offend no one.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I think we could agree that Robert E. Lee would be well.
That's fine if it stops there. It just never does.
Well, I mean, look, the point about it, the central point of the discussion, which was occurring there, was about the existence of racism against Black Americans, which plainly does exist.
Well, and actually,
life expectancies 5 years shorter than white people. Number of Black children going hungry is 3 times as high as white children. On and on.
Although the actual what she cited, I'm not quite sure what she was referencing. She was referencing violence against gun violence against Black people, which sure is a problem we could take more seriously. I mean, it's not. It is in almost in a large number of cases having to do with poverty and Black people disproportionately living in unsafer areas, not because the Ku Klux Klan is marching through the country gunning people down.
Well, 82% of people on death row are on death row because of offences committed against white people. That is incongruous with the thing that you have just described, which is so-called black-on-black violence. That figure shouldn't be as high as that if there was not at some level embedded into the criminal justice system a conscious or subconscious belief that white lives are somehow more important.
Well, I think we could debate that at a greater length, but we unfortunately have to run. It does it for us today on Rising Live. Look out for more exclusive YouTube content coming your way today, and be sure to share, and subscribe to The Hill's YouTube channel so you never miss any content. And for those of you who like to listen while on the go, we're now available anywhere you can listen to podcasts, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.